Hey guys, this isn't gonna be jeez. I'll just put it in the description. Basically, I'm not doing this for basically I'm doing this to keep my sanity, and because if I don't document this, then essentially it'll just be bottled up, and I feel like I need to say something. Anyway, as I've said before, I don't really have any real friends, and it's been very difficult for me. Um, but basically, I'll explain some of my frustrations with it. Basically, I go out, I dance, I have a good time, I guess, and people like me, but I keep I keep my composure, and essentially, what's frustrating for me is that people think I'm a person who has everything together. They just assume that, right? People see me as a dad type, and I just want to freaking have fun. I don't even care at this point, I'll swear. Um I don't want I know I am a mature I have maturity, but that doesn't mean that I don't still want to be young. And thing is, I can't actually explain this to people because considering the fact that no one actually allows themselves to get close to me, like, the thing with me is, you invite me and I will be there. I'm just never I'm just never invited, right? People like people when people see me, they run up and they give me a big hug. But then we say goodbye at the end of the night, and they don't call me, or like, no one actually asks, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And like, everything on the internet, like, well, not everything, but people are constantly telling me, and my brother's an introvert, so he's telling me, be your own best friend. Be your own best friend. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. And I don't disagree that those are valid points. Sorry, I'm looking to the wrong side of the screen because I think the camera's backwards or something. Anyway, so weird. Anyway, everybody's telling me to love myself, and like I said, I don't disagree that those are valid points, but why the fuck was I put on a planet with dozens of other human beings if the only real goal is for me to just love myself? I do that. That is why I'm making this video, right? Because I know that it's harmful to me to just have this stuff bottled up. Nobody asks, like, part of it is my own fault because I choose to keep my composure, like I said, and I don't exactly make it obvious. But growing up, basically, if I if I if I obviously showed that I was in distress, that I was nervous, that I was sad, like that this negative energy was affecting me, then I was a quote unquote drama queen. And even if people don't use that term, people wouldn't want to be friends with me if if I actually showed how I really felt. That's part of the reason I go dancing, actually. Half the time I dance because I'm celebrating, the other half I'm dancing because I'm crying on the inside. And people ask me, how do you do it? And I really just don't have much to say about it. Um, right? It's hard. You live in a world with so many other human beings, and you know that there's good human beings out there, but we aren't actually actively supporting each other. We're, in fact, encouraged to distance ourselves. And there's like a number of reasons why, but it doesn't justify the isolation of human beings. It doesn't justify for us to abandon each other like this. Like, why should so many of us have to feel so isolated and so alone when it's such an easy thing to remedy? It's something that humans have been remedying for the past thousands of years, but just now we're deciding, oh no, we don't need human connection. We don't need to call somebody to check how they're doing. We don't need to do any of that, right? Because, oh, Noah's just perfectly fine. He doesn't seem to be in distress or anything. You know, it drives me freaking crazy. And, like, I understand, like, I should just open up to people, but they don't really engage with me in that sense. Like, if you've seen me, if you're a complete stranger who's met me, I talk to you for 5 minutes and I will be completely open with you. Like, there's certain things I won't talk about, and that goes with all of us, but I will be completely open with you. I will be honest with you. And I will also listen. But I feel undervalued. I feel like like people know that, like, it's very clear that I am a valuable asset, but people don't treat me like it. People don't acknowledge it. Like, even if they say it, they don't actually make me a part of their group, and like, I get it. I'm like, I get it, like, the maturity level's not the same, but sometimes if you would literally just freaking ask me if I would like to do something, I would probably say yes. And even though I know that people treat me this way, I still go out anyway because I want to do something. I don't want to isolate myself. Like, there's people who choose to isolate themselves, and that's on them. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's their own choice, right? Like, I have my own personal opinions on that. Um, like, I'll just be honest. I don't think that it is healthy for. I don't think human beings. I don't care if you're an introvert or an extrovert or whatever. You know, um, I don't think any human being was ever meant to be just confounded to their own home for like 90% of the time. And we are encouraging that. We're telling people that is perfectly okay, but it is not healthy, right? Like, even as an introvert, you need to engage with other human beings. And if you think about the fact that there's introvert, extrovert, and then the complete middle ambivert, which is me, and we're essentially dividing things up. Instead of having the full 100% of human beings out there for you to encounter or run into, now we've got like 60%, 10% of them being the, let's say, like, okay, now we've got like, I'm not even gonna do, but essentially it's like 50-50. 50 of the people, 50% is like sitting in their homes, doing their own thing because they're an introvert, and then the extroverts go out, and there's only 50% of us, and then the really intelligent people who are just taking time to develop themselves, you're less likely to run into because, right? Because these are the introverts, these are the ones who take a lot of time to think about things because they're not actually out there. Like, a general perspective of an extrovert is I don't need to be around people constantly. I don't need this. That is an I. But have you ever just once thought maybe I don't necessarily need them, but maybe they need me? You know, like maybe I'm actually valuable out there, you know. Like I feel like you know, I can't meet a single person who just doesn't take me for granted. You know, my older friends, like, who are like 10 years older than me, I don't hold them against it because I know that, well, they're 10 years older than me. They got busy lives and stuff. And they don't just hang out with their other friends either. Right? Not really. Um, so I'm not really singled out in this situation. But my younger friends, they hang out with their friends, but they don't hang out with me. Right? And when they're going out, they don't invite me out. I run into them. Like, I know I'm a great person. You know, and it's hard when other people just can't see that. Right? Like, and even when they do, they don't acknowledge the fact that I'm a human being and I need connection. Like, I'm not saying this because I've got an extroverted side. That is part of it, but I believe that all human beings do need to have a little bit of human connection, right? Like I said, some people choose to be isolated, but I did not choose this, right? I am just, I'm stuck in this place where people will think I'm cool, but they won't just sit down and have a conversation with me. Like, it doesn't mean shit if people think I'm cool if I'm not actually benefiting from it. If I'm not actually establishing some real human connection, then what is the whole point? Right? At the end of the day, I still don't have anybody to go back to. I know it's probably. I don't really have anything positive to say right now. Right. Now I remember. Alright, and when I go out dancing. Okay. This is a bit. This is more of a controversial part, but I bring my A game, essentially. Before I go out, and not every guy does this, um, I freshen up. I put in an effort to try to present myself in the best possible way, right? I literally shave every Friday. I mean, some guys shave every day, but for me it's a big deal, you know. Point is I make an effort, right? Then I go out and I I go dancing and basically I'm a good dancer. Okay. Well, I hate that you can't just say things like this without people immediately negating it, but um I'm a good dancer and basically like you know some case you could say I'm fuck jeez for myself yeah. Hmm. Essentially I want to feel sexy, I want to feel attractive, like in fact I'm very people don't expect males to be insecure about these things, okay, but we are, at least I know that I am. And you go out, you're surrounded by all these girls, and like I said, I dance anyway. I at a point I don't do it for the attention, I do it for myself because I need it for my sanity. But you're around all of these girls, and some will dance with me, some mo- and most of them just kind of keep to themselves, right? But in the situation, the one's dancing with me, I essentially the way I grew up, and I was very harshly, I was harassed and bullied, and essentially, the whole town, like younger people at least, would treat me like shit for things related to this. Um, anyway, I don't want to touch a woman without her permission, right? I don't, and then I see guys just completely sweep a woman off their feet, and you know, like when I put in all this effort, right? And basically, I don't know what it is, but um, essentially, I actually look at the person I'm dancing with. I acknowledge them. I try to sync up with their movements. This complicated talk. Um, but I will not put my hands on the woman unless it is unless it is perfectly clear that she is giving me permission to. I've tried that. Believe me, I've tried that. And I've had women slap my hands away before. And it is embarrassing for a guy to have to ask a woman to dance when it should just be a given. Right? You're on the dance floor. as long as nobody's abusing anybody, we should just be able to do this, you know? Shouldn't be that complicated, right? And obviously, I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to ask a girl to dance when she's in the middle of her big group of friends or whatever. I'm not the only guy who sees it that way. Like, there's other guys who are great dancers too, and they hardly get with chicks because it's essentially made this complicated. So anyway, you're dancing with a chick, and basically, she's really into it. Her friends are taking videos and stuff, and the way that I understand it, you move a little bit closer to escalate the tension, and then basically at that point, you're either supposed to put your hand, either you touch her or she touches you. But I feel like, in the sense of being a guy, we live in a world that shames guys for doing just that. And I don't want people. All throughout my school career, where I grew up, people thought I was a pedophile. Not because I did anything. Rather, it's a complicated story. But essentially... Oh, fuck. Bad kidding. No! Fuck! Jeez. Oh. Okay. It's gotta... Jeez. Okay. Basically, I was... Basically, I was coerced into doing something that Fuck. Bad kitty, no! Jeez. If they run like that, they'll destroy the house. Okay. Basically, I was coerced into doing something that I wasn't fully comfortable with. And essentially, this guy didn't want everybody thinking he was gay. So he told everybody that I did it. And that never left. And sexuality will never be the same for me because I was taken from me. And basically, I don't want to take a chance at, if I did a single thing that was considered funny or weird, people automatically would blow things out of proportion and accuse me of something extreme that I didn't do. And it was impossible for me to make friends. And it was really hard for me. Now I'm in a new city. I got a second chance. And I don't want to blow that. So yeah, anyway, when I'm dancing with a girl, one thing I feel like girls gotta understand, if we're gonna get anywhere as a society, is men, throughout history, we've been told we're supposed to make the first move. And I'm not not trying to negate that point by any means. But if they're going to shame us for touching women, like especially like in a dance floor setting, right, where it's the signs aren't always clear, I feel like women should just learn to make the first move. And this might sound lazy, but hear me out. You're dancing with the woman, you're engaged, you're syncing up with her movements, you're getting a little bit closer, right? And in a worst case scenario, you put your hands around her waist and you try to move in a little bit closer, and she she slaps your hands away and then basically just disappears, right? She could be doing a number of things. She could be bragging to her friends about how this guy wanted to dance with her, but she's too shy to actually do so, and you feel embarrassed. Or she feels awkward, and now she doesn't want to talk to you. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong. I mean, for a matter of fact, a lot of women have issues. It's just a given at this point. A lot of men have issues too, but that's another story. Anyway, but if you're in the same situation and then the woman touches you, nobody's going to shame her for it. She's not going to suffer any embarrassment, because what kind of guy would deny that advance? Right? Women are afraid of men touching them because of this whole power structure, right? Because men are typically physically stronger, more able to manipulate the situation, and women are afraid of that. And it's perfectly understandable, especially when a lot of guys will abuse the situation. Not all guys, but there are guys that do that. So, right, like, it frustrates me that women won't just make the first move, because, like, I stick my neck out, I put my hand on one of them, and suddenly, they, suddenly situation sours, right? And if I physically ask a girl to dance, that puts me on the spot. And essentially, it's kind of a situation where it's like, oh, are we not dancing already? You know, um, it's very easy for somebody to embarrass you when you put yourself on the spot like that. And oftentimes, girls won't, if a girl says yes, she won't even, she won't even make it sexual, right? And part of that is because they just want to be swept off their feet. They don't want a guy to ask, they want a guy just to do it. And, I want to respect women. I don't want to violate that. And essentially, I feel like I inevitably pay for it because, well, the guy who violates that is typically a guy who's going to be very toxic and just not a healthy guy to be around, right? But a lot of people don't know how to love themselves, so they just let that happen, or they fall into that because it's like an addiction. And essentially, when I try to do things right, when I try to do things by the book, it it makes me come across as a father type, and I just want to feel, like, I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel like some of the energy I'm putting out there is actually being reciprocated. Um, yeah, like if a woman were to just engage when dancing, put her hands around me, I would fully embrace it. Um, but most cases, a woman will like dance at a distance and for like maybe like 3 to 5 minutes and then just move on. Right? Like like I said, it's not like I haven't tried to engage in physical contact. Um, Maybe I should just watch videos on it, but point is at the end of the day, I'm dancing alone, and you know, I feel like, I feel jeez, I just want people to see me the same way they'd see anybody else. Like I happen to be very intelligent. I happen to have a strong sense of maturity, but I'm also just a human being. I wish people wouldn't be so intimidated by me. Because I need to have friends. I need to have people I can hang out with. Like I don't care if somebody's IQ level is lower than mine. I can still hang out with them and have a good time. Anyway, I think I've been talking for too long. But like now you kind of understand some of my frustrations with my situation. Yeah, like I didn't choose this. I put myself out there. I'm actively making an effort. I've developed myself to be like I'm really good with conversations. I've developed myself to a point where I'm a very easy person to be around. But I feel like people don't feel like they deserve me. I feel like people either just sometimes people are just afraid because they don't understand me. But I wish they would just see me like anybody else. Just right. Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, I needed this. I hope you guys are having a good day, and well, we'll see you soon.